Hey, what is going on, guys? This is Jason with Jadren Aquatics. Thanks for hanging out with me in the shrimp room today. So today we're going to do a tour of all my shrimp tanks. If you guys remember before, I had about 45 10-gallon tanks that were dedicated just to Caridina shrimp. I have since cut that down to, I think I've got about 15 tanks now. Basically, any tank that I had probably 5 or less shrimp, and I just didn't see any babies in there. I decided to move them all into a 55-gallon tank you'll see in a little bit. That's basically what I call my Skittles tank now. You know, dealing with Caridina shrimp is an aggravating process sometimes. You'll have 2 tanks side by side. One tank you'll do the exact same thing to both tanks, but you'll have a population explosion on one side, and then you'll have a population that does absolutely nothing on the tank beside it, and it makes no sense whatsoever. And so, again, it can be aggravating, especially when you're used to dealing with Neos, and Neos just blossom no matter where you put them at. So let's go ahead, let's go around so I can show you guys tank by tank all the cool shrimp we have. All right, first tank we have here, a 10-gallon tank. These are red fishbone Pintos. As you can see, this is one of the populations that's doing really, really well. And these guys are breeding pretty true. Most of these all sort of have the same type of pattern. So these guys are doing good. Next tank that we have here, these are red Calicos. These are some of my favorites. I just love the patterns on these guys. I originally just got like 5 babies, and they were so small they didn't even look anything like this. So I wasn't even sure whether or not I actually got the right thing. And then they grew out and started having babies, and they look exactly like what they're supposed to look like. You can also get these guys in black. Just a cool looking shrimp. These guys right here are called raccoons. Kind of have a clear body with some black striping on them. This is another one of the tanks that's a little bit questionable. Like I said, the ones with about 5 or less is the ones that I moved, and this is probably down to about 5. I never had a bunch of them. Population just really never took off. Right here we've got Red Tigers. These guys are sort of like the raccoons we just saw, but they've got the red tiger pattern on them instead. I think there's might be 15 or 20 still in this tank, so these guys are still breeding. Another just beautiful looking shrimp. These guys are super crystal blacks. They kind of look like normal crystals, but they have more kind of a clear instead of white. This is another one where I don't have a lot left, so this might be another tank I might be shutting down. All right, these guys in here, these are Fany Tigers, but these are some of the real high-end ones. They're called Nanacys. Actually, they were born from a pair of Nanacys. The ones that kind of have they have that tiger pattern, but they also have kind of a white mask around their eyes. So not every single one of them in here looks exactly like that, but a few of them, like this one right here in the middle, is really, really nice. I know you see that green shrimp in there. That's just a Neo that, I don't know, Neos end up in all my tanks some way or another, so he's just kicking it in here, enjoying it with the rest of the shrimp. And no, they have no ability to be able to crossbreed together. This is another just beautiful shrimp, though, that one of the ones that, you know, really draws people into the hobby because they have such good color patterns. But some of these, especially these Nanacys, these things get expensive. All right, in this tank, these guys are Tang Ties. These are Tangerine Tigers that have been bred with some other type of Caridina shrimp. You can kind of see in there, they're kind of just producing all sorts of kind of little different colors and different kinds of patterns.
But this is obviously one that's doing well. You can always tell the tanks that are doing well because when you look in there, you see a bunch of small shrimp. When you start not seeing the small shrimp is when you realize you've got some sort of a problem happening. This tank here, this is some more of the tang ties, but these are ones I actually separated because I started kind of seeing some cool patterns. They started kind of getting like a white tiger pattern on them. So all the ones that look like that, I began to separate them, and you can see they've already had fry a couple of times. I keep saying fry because I'm used to fish. I guess in reality they're called shrimplets, but I'm probably going to say fry about 12 more times, so just bear with me. But these guys were in the tank that I just showed you, but again, they just started showing these cool patterns. So I separated them, and they're going nuts in here. In here are the orange eye blue tigers. These guys I haven't had very long. I think there's only 3 or 4 that are in here. I haven't noticed any babies yet. But these guys, this orange, if you can get a look at that guy's eyes, they are just cool looking, especially set on that really dark blue body. Again, just another beautiful, beautiful shrimp. All right, here in this tank, these are called blue bees, but these are actually not Neo or just regular Caridinas. These are called Caridina, so it's actually a different subclass or subfamily or whatever the scientific term is for them. These are one of the ones I've actually had for a long, long time, and used to not hardly ever see these guys in here. They just always stayed hidden. But now, at least when I put food out, they'll come out. It's kind of a different looking one you just don't typically see. Not very many people tend to breed these. All right, in this tank, this is another population that just keeps on doing really, really well. These are super crystal reds and super crystal blacks. There's a few that are kind of starting to spit out some just regular black King Kongs. Originally I had like King Kong Extremes, which are like solid black with just a little bit, a tiny bit of white. And I put them in the same tank together because I didn't have enough room. And they've started to crossbreed. And so I think that's why we're starting to see super crystal blacks, and now we're getting just some regular black King Kongs in there also. Here's another mixed tank of Neos. These are all just cherries and oranges. I think when I bought them, when I bought these originally from Flip Aquatics, I think they're called Sunkist, if I remember right. That's where almost all of my Neos came, is from Rob at Flip Aquatics. His Neos are just so super healthy. I mean, as you can see, their populations just explode. And here's a tank that has the Fantasy Blues. You see these guys, just a deep dark blue. If the guppies would get out of the way. This is another Neo Caridina. Okay, so this is the what I now call the Skittles tank. This is a 55. This is the tank that I moved all of the leftover Caridina shrimp that I had. And you can see these guys all back here. They like to hang out on this sponge filter mainly. You can see there's blue bolts in there. You can see there's a Tangerine Tigers. The Tangerine Tigers I put in here first, so they're the ones that actually are starting to breed more. But we've got a little bit of everything down here. There's some black King Kongs, some red King Kongs, some super crystal reds, a few fancy tigers. This tank's starting to be a pretty cool tank now. Just seeing all these different colored ones in here. I'm excited to see the population in these things just to absolutely explode. All right, there is the tour of the shrimp part of the Jadren Aquatics fish room. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you guys got any questions or comments, be sure and leave them down below. So thanks again, guys, and God bless.